Alright you guys, welcome back to another deck video. Today we're going to be talking about Incineroar. Excuse me. Jeez. Incineroar surprised us big time. If you've already seen the results of the tournament, you already seen that this deck is one of our top 8 decks. Surprisingly, yeah, it kind of got aided by Gyarados' fall, the SP deck, but this deck is good nevertheless. Reasons that it's good is because 250 HP on a GX is bananas. It's a really hard number to hit for a lot of decks. Unless you're a non-water deck, it doesn't get one-shot easily. Like we tried to name decks right off the bat that could one-shot it without any cool tricks, and we only came up with Sabrina's Kadabra can one-shot it. Like a really loaded up Vespiquen could, I guess. What else? There's just not a lot. Rayquaza Rayquaza could, but what else? Rayquaza even needs help. Rayquaza needs a muscle band on it, even with a full bench. So yeah, not a lot of stuff hits 250 damage. So that's really, really good. Yeah, it does take a turn evolving into it, but it's so worth it because it's hard to kill. And the fact that you can max potion it and attach and still be doing your damage. And you're doing 90 to 110 base damage with Hustling Strike just over and over again. So, yeah, really good stuff there. One of the negatives of it, I think, is the fact that you do have to evolve. So if you fall behind, it can be hard to catch up. And a lot of your bench hitters are EX reliant. Anyways, we're going to go over the deck. It is built like most other decks that we have, including the way that supporters work and bench hitters work, but just fire typing, because we want all the stuff on the bench to be fire type. So that's enough talking, and it should be more about looking at the list. So we are going to play a 2-1-2 line, and the reason we play a 2-1-2 line is strictly because there's only one Torracat that actually is available to us, so we have to play this weird kind of thinner line. There are 3 Littens available, so you could go 3-1-2 if you wanted. This Incineroar is rarely used. It is a non-EX 160 HP, so it's still good. It's just, Fire Fang's going to do 30 and burn, so that's 50 damage for 2, 70 with a Muscle Band. It's not bad. The second attack is 100 times 2 heads. So, that's good, but it's just not great. I think it's good for when your actual Incineroar dies, if it ever dies. So if this goes down, you can kind of lean on this for late game damage to kind of sweep the board. So 2-1-2 line, that's all we're really going to do. That's all you're really ever going to need. That Torracat's super, super important, so don't forget to prize it. Or don't prize it. You cannot afford to prize that guy. You can't rely on rare candy alone. So what other stuff is in here that's fire-based? Well, some of the basics that we're going to be playing. We're going to play one Heatmore. It's 20 plus 20 if it has a tool for 1 energy, so a Muscle Band puts up to 60. Really not bad. We haven't used it much, or we didn't use it much, and I feel like it could be cut, but it's in the deck for now. We are going to play the Volcanion and the Victini that are in most every fire deck, just because they're so good for support. 100 damage for 3 or 1 acceleration, and then 100 for 2, both on non-EX cards are awesome. And then we're also going to play one Fliptini. Since it is fire, it should be the other Fliptini. The new Fliptini should be used if you are playing fire energies, because it does 50 damage, and this Fliptini should be used if you're not playing fire energies, but this one's in there because I think I built it, and I was like, this deck's going to lose anyways, I want to play a full art, but that's just me. This is one of my favorite cards ever in terms of art and everything, so just call me a homer pick, but that should be the new one. Just because there are a couple attacks that do require flipping. Tiger Swing at second attack on the GX is flip 2 coins 50 plus, and then obviously Darkest Lariat that's 2 for 100. I will mention too that the GX attack on Incineroar is amazing. It's 220. It blows anything up. So while you'll be doing chip damage 90 to 100 for most things, you can one-shot it with the GX. So we'll know there. We are playing a 1-1 Pyro PHF. Now I have fallen more and more in love with this card as it's gone along, strictly because the Lysander on your bench is awesome. Since you only attack for 1 energy, it's not hard to charge this guy up. So all of your other attachments can go to this Leo, and then when you need to, you can start Flare Commanding over and over again. And you can even Blacksmith to it to Flare Command multiple times. So every turn you're Lysandering, and since you're hitting for an average of 90 damage anyways with Incineroar, you can just take all of their bench sitters every single turn. You can make Flare Command Claydol, Flare Command Porygon, Flare Command Claydol, just keep going and going if they're not smacking you in the face. Because if they're not one-shotting you, you're like, okay, cool, Max Potion, attach, Flare Command that thing, and then they hit you again, and you're like, alright, Junk Arm, Max Potion, attach, Flare Command, as long as you Blacksmith this. So, that combo there is actually way more busted than we ever imagined. So that's why I play a 1/1 and Pyro line. You could play the Break too. The Break is very, very good. Now moving on to kind of support Pokemon. I had to find stuff to replace other things, right? I didn't want to play the Porygon lines, so instead I'm playing a 1/1 Milotic line. This replaces the double supporter Porygon because you can sharing your opponent's hand for a second supporter. Granted, it's not always going to be what you need, but it's going to be ways to draw cards, so it's not bad. Plus, it's fire type considering your bench instead of the other Porygon. And then we are playing a 2/2 Ninetales line, but this Roast Reveal was kind of to replace the other Porygon, the backup Porygon, draw till you have 6. That was kind of what to replace it. And since we were playing the Vulpix line anyways, I decided to throw in a Alolan Vulpix in there for extra consistency. Yeah, it's water type, but it's fine because you can evolve into a fire type. You could cut this if you're really worried about it. It doesn't come into play too often. And then one Bright Looks Ninetales, just because it's a good attacker, and if you don't have Flare Command charged up, or they Lysander kill it, because this is an EX, it is a big target sitting on your bench, you can go for this one. It's an EX as well, but it's an extra Lysander way. So there's all of those. That's your support Pokemon to kind of replace your 1/1 Porygon line, or your 2/2 Porygon line. We still are going to play the Claydol just because it is way too busted. We're still going to play Spiritomb, Lapras, and Uxie, strictly because they are good and you can just scoop them up, or we play some extra cards to get them out of play for your damage. But instead of Dunsparce, we're playing one Oricorio. It's search your deck for 3 fire Pokemon and put them on your bench for 1 fire energy. So it's basically the same thing as Dunsparce, just without the switching effect, and it only lets you grab fire Pokemon, which is fine because that's what we want to do with Incineroar anyways. So there you have it for Pokemon. Like I said, it's just a lot of fire types, plus we sub the Porygon lines out for some other cool stuff, just to give you more fire Pokemon on the bench. Moving on to supporters here. It's going to be a lot of standard stuff you'll see. Searching, we have Rosie's Research, Collector, Skyla, Wally, Babies, and Karina. All fairly standard, you're not too surprised there. Same with Draw, Power, not too shocking. We're going to have a Juniper and a Sycamore, an N and a Rockets, a Colress and a Copycat, and then plus that Pont there. Again, pretty standard, nothing shocking to anybody. For switching, we're going to have Guzma, Lysander, and AZ. You could also play a Brimies if you're really worried about that bench spots, like really worried about your Uxie, your Lapras, your Spiritomb, taking away some of your damage. I can guarantee you it's not too much of an issue, so 1 AZ is fine. Searching 2, you have Teammates and Mellow. And then Recovery, you got Marley's and Trump Card, all standard so far. And then looks at the bottom here, you got a Hex Maniac, you have an Iris, which needs to go in most decks, but it's really, really good in this deck since you're attached from 1 energy, and you're not trying to one-shot in the early games. And then it's a fire deck, so we're going to play Blacksmith. All standard stuff, nothing too shocking here. Like I said, if you're worried about having a non-fire on the bench, you could consider playing a Mr. Brimies. You could also consider playing a Ninja Boy in this deck. I don't know if this deck would necessarily... I don't know if it's super necessary, and I would think I'd prefer Mr. Brimies over Ninja Boy, but that's just me. Searching cards, we're going to have a Level Ball. We're also going to play a Letter. This is just going to help get fires into the discard pile so you can accelerate them with Volcanion or Boxmith. It's never too much of an issue. This also helps with Roast Reveal and Scorched Earth, just to kind of draw extra cards. Like if you have both of those out and you draw into this is essentially just to draw 5 cards. So if you think about it that way. Computer Search is staple, Luxury Ball, PCOM, Ultra Ball, Evo Soda, and Swoop Teleporter. All standard searching cards there. Swoop Teleporter is even better in this deck to, like I said, get rid of those pesky non-fire Pokemon. Excuse me. Recover, we're going to have Palpad versus Seeker, Item Finder, and Junk Arm, all standard there. Super Rod and Stretcher, you'll notice, because this stretches these two split is always a question for some people. Why not just play 2 Pokemon Retriever, or 2, a Super Rod, either a Super Rod and Night Teleporter, or Stretchy and Retriever. I like splitting them in this deck because fire energies are important to get back in your discard pile, from your discard pile. Rather. Drawing cards, we're going to have Oak, Bill, and Misty's Wrath. Nothing too special there. Switching cards, we are going to have Escape Rope and Scoop Up standard, but then we're also having Mr. Fuji. This is the one card I have to get rid of extra stuff off the bench, and I think it's fine just playing Fuji. And then extra cards here, we're going to have, something's out here, we're going to have Breeder and Rare Candy, obviously, because there are 2 stage 2s, so we are going to play those. Play that Max Potion, like I said. Your main attacker is for 1 energy, so to keep that 250 damage healthy is great. Windstorm staple, and Oak's Invention staple. Then we also play one laser. This is mainly just for Roast Reveal Ninetales to get that extra damage if you need it. If you ever need to attack with it, you have this laser option. Plus that extra 10 damage never hurt anybody, so laser kind of works in this deck. I don't like laser in every deck, but in this deck, it's fine because of the Roast Reveal, and that 90 damage could be supplemented strictly because of laser. Supporter, or stadiums rather. We have Broken Time Space here. It's an evolution deck. We're gonna have Skyfield. That's to help your damage if you need it with those fire Pokemon. If you need more fire Pokemon on the bench, Skyfield's great. Also helps bounce all your non-fire Pokemon because you fill it up and then you can Windstorm it, that sort of thing. Scorched Earth for extra draw power. And then we are playing Full Flame. There are only like 2 Pokemon that burn, I think, in the entire deck. Let me quickly just find them. I think it's legitimately only 2. This Vulpix here and then the GX are the only things that burn. Yeah. So this is a way, if you need to hit more than 220 with Burning Slam, this will make you hit 240 after Full Flame, which is going to one-shot everything. There could be some 250s out there, like Primarina, and Decision Bite's not even 240. I don't even know if Primarina's 250, I can't off the top of my head. But a Muscle Band or a Laser, you'll hit now 260 or 270, so you're one-shotting everything, and that's what Full Flame is just kind of the way to put you over that peak if you need to hit more than 220 to one-shot something. That's why Full Flame is in here. Moving on, we're going to have Choice Band and Muscle Band to enhance some damage. We're going to play a little bit of extra tools. We're going to play Fighting Fury Belt, and it's kind of for that Heatmore that needs a tool to do extra damage. It's to put that early pressure on while you set up your GX. And then Floatstone and Fluffy Bear, you do have some fatties, so it is nice to get a little bit extra retreat cost in there. All 4 of these, plus Thousand Machine, nothing too exciting there. You need to play all of them. And then in terms of energies, it's nothing too special. There's 9, 12, 14 basic fires. Burning energy is not needed because you're not discarding anything. Double colors isn't needed because it's all fire typings. Double Rainbow could be the only thing that I would actually consider for your non-EX Incineroar, but that's about it. Because everything else is like a GX when you evolve it. So 14 fires is perfectly fine. Doesn't leave you open to Enhanced Hammer or Lost Remove or anything like that. So yeah, that's Incineroar. If you have any questions on it, please let me know. It is a better deck than one would anticipate. So definitely try it out and let me know what you think. Hope you have a good one.